Hi guys, I got another one of those error messages that I never do anything about. It's like video capture timeout. I think it means that the computer's still booting up, which I have no idea why it takes so long. I'm paying for the internet. Here's Mrs. Chester looking kind of fluffy today. You see my hair is growing out somewhat, and I actually washed it with body wash and then put conditioner in it. It seems to do a better job than the shampoo. I was going to put some music on. I have a 12 CD set here of the great masters. Jacques Offenbach. Jack Offenbach. He's a very good composer, but the name just struck me as funny. It reminded me of Jack Mehoff from who was it? Not Drew Carey. Who's the big guy that died? That used to hang out with the little guy who was David Spade. Him. That's who that reminded me of. You'll remember, and you can't tell me in the comments. Anyway, went out to Patty's this morning and got my treatment, got my Stop and Shop chicken on. I had to park far away to get a freaking basket. I'm going to have to complain again because there's no one out to herd the carts in that store. So all the carts are like 200 feet past the entrance, which is doable for me as long as I have the cart to hold on to. Anyway, I said to Patty, I haven't done my death in the dentist yet. So I'm going to start that now and see how it goes. A couple weeks ago, a cap came off in the back. Now, I don't have the most photogenic teeth in the world, and I have a metal cap in the back. I was flossing and the cap flew off. I got a little alarmed. I'm like, oh no, I open my mouth and I look and I see this kind of black spot and I feel this enormous space where the cap was. So I call the dentist. Now my dentist has been semi-retired ever since I've gone to him, which is at least 15, maybe 20 years. I only go when something breaks. So I call him up, leave a message. This is like a Thursday night. Leave him all my phone numbers. And he gets me back on Friday. He's like, I wouldn't have called back. I never call anybody back. People say I don't call them back. But since it's you, which makes absolutely no sense to me. So I drive there. And my dentist is basically Dorian Gray. I used to think he was gay. He has the perfect teeth. He has not a single line on him. He's like flawless. He actually looks kind of like a waxwork, but I'm not going to say, how's Madame Tussauds going. So I haven't seen him in since the last thing broke, 7 or 8 years. Go in. And of course, now I'm older. I got different hair. I'm with the cane. I go in and the office is exactly the same as it's been since 1990. It's got the salmon colored wallpaper on it, which now kind of looks like it should be peeled off a Crayola. It's just gone kind of dry and colorless. And he's got the fake watch on the wall. It's the time, and he does have a nice picture, I must say, in the room where his reception desk is. He does have a hyper-realist picture of a candy store. Not the one that has all the candies, but the front of the store. That I like. And he used to have a fish tank, but he's not there much, so the fish tank no longer is there. And he has this 1990 leather couch. It's about 1.5 inches off the floor. So I was like, I'm not going to sit on that couch. I'm just going to stand here. And he comes downstairs. And he's looking like he always does. And I say what I'm supposed to say. Hi, doctor, you haven't changed a bit. You're looking fit. And he's like, come on in. And I told him that I didn't think I could get the cap back on. When I was talking to him on the phone at work, he's actually like, try to put the cap back on. So I'm sitting at my desk trying to put the cap back on. And I'm terrified of doing anything to my teeth. I'm always afraid I'm going to swallow something or something's going to break. It's one of those things. So I go in and he has his trays of stuff laid out. He thinks he's going to have to make me a new cap. And it turns out he doesn't. And then he starts kind of whining like, oh man, I can never make any money. I thought you're going to need a new cap. You know what they charge for these caps now? $1,200. I did my own cap. And I said, I know what's coming next. He reaches into his drawer of the thing and he shows the mirror and he showed me how he did his own cap. And he's got, like I said, he's Dorian Gray. He's the Wax Museum. And he's going on and the lights are flickering in there because I guess he doesn't use them often. It's like a David Lynch movie, the fluorescence flickering, and I'm in the chair, and he's like, I'll just cement it on, do. And all the while he's talking to me how, he's never around, he's always in Mexico, all his friends either have Alzheimer's or they're dead, and I called up my friend, I didn't know he was dead, left a voicemail, and it turns out he's dead. He used to do my work for me. He used to do $4 million in the houses in the Hamptons, and now everybody's dead. And I'm like, yeah, okay. And I wouldn't answer the phone except it's you. You see, he likes me because I pay. I don't know, other people go to the dentist and don't pay, but I do. Because I said, at some point he's going to say, I'm doing it because you pay. So he glues the cap in, and he has to bring me a cup of water because the rinsey thing isn't even working in this thing. He hasn't even got the water turned on. And I'm like, yeah. He charged me $200 for it. So he made his money for the cement. I don't know if he charged it because he laid out the supplies that he didn't use or what. And it would have been, whatever. I got the cap in. I was satisfied. I give him a check. So I'm giving him the check, which is in this other little ante room. And he also changed his music. He used to play Johnny Cash all the time, the Sun record sessions. But now he's got the guy that does... The End of the Innocence, I forgot his name, do, and it's kind of depressing. So he's got that playing in the background, the sad sax, and he's sitting there and he's talking to me. He's at his desk, and the desk, like I said, there's nobody in there. He never uses the place. And he's like, actually, tomorrow I'm having an open house. I'm selling this place. It's too much for me. Wine. How old do you think I am? And I'm looking at him like, well, he's probably at least as old as I am. He's probably a lot older because he's always looked like this. And he goes, I'm 75 years old, and I can't go out with women my own age because they look like my grandmother. And I'm attracted to women in the 30s, and I don't even date. And I'm thinking, hey, you dug that hole yourself, buddy. I mean, you chose to push age away from you, and now you're afraid that if you go out with somebody who actually looks their age, it's going to reflect badly. And I'm thinking like, well, hey, you made that bed, buddy. You're lying. But I'm not saying anything. I'm like, well, yeah. And then I'm like, I really appreciate that you took the time to do this for me, and you got back to me so quick, and I'm really glad you do this because you always do a good job. And it's true. He always does do a good job. And this cap hasn't budged in like 12 years until I flipped it out with the flosses. I told you not to floss. I'm thinking, maybe he did tell me not to floss 10 years ago. Do I remember that? No. And he's like, yeah, and it would have cost a ton, and you would have paid it too if I'd asked you. Yeah, so anyway, and then he felt like, he was feeling like really bad for me that I got the cane, and I opened the door, and of course there's a step. He's like, are you okay with the step? I just put that step in. It cost me $300. And I'm thinking, yeah, less the $200 you just charged me for a quarter teaspoon of glue and 10 minutes of your time. I'm thinking, I really should have charged him the way he was talking. And I'm driving home, and I thought about this dentist thing like the whole night. I'm like, yeah, this is where he's at, oh, yeah, and he was also saying about his son. He's like, well, at least my son's going to come up here and hang out with me. I've been here since March, and it's rained all the time, but at least I'll have someone to play tennis with. I still play tennis. I'm like, this is the kind of guy that wouldn't give you a second glance. I don't think he was trying to date me anyway, because I'm too old for him. I don't look like, I'm not my daughter's age. I'm thinking, well, death is caught up to your friends, buddy. And death is all around you. And, you can't maintain this place and you're placing Mexico and all this. And I'm like, he's not happy. He chose what he did. He has his money, whatever. And he's also talking about his dogs. He's like, I still have the dog. I'm thinking, is that the pug? And I go, oh, yeah? And he goes, you remember the retriever? I'm like, oh, yeah, I remember the retriever. He's like, he's upstairs with me now, and we're watching CNBC, and I'm watching my money drain away. And then he had another whole thing going on because he has a tenant in a space he's not supposed to have. And he was saying, oh, somebody turned him in and all this and that and the other thing. And I'm like, yeah, okay. This is your bed. This is your tanning bed. I tell you, he didn't have a fucking line. Nothing. He must be pulled back in the back and tied in a knot like they used to do with the jacket if it didn't fit back on the, on the Lower East Side when you get a cheap suit. I tell you, because it was sad. it was sad, and I got my stuff done, and I was thinking, gee, if I was really his friend, I'd call him up and ask him how the open house went. But I'm not his friend. I'm a client. I see him twice in a decade, and he overcharges me. But I pay, and that's it, and I'm happy with my cap, and I'm sure it's going to last longer than he will. 10 minutes, and that's my story about death and the dentist. I hope I didn't speak too quickly for you to get the gist. And I'm going to have my chicken now, because it's probably cold. This is Mrs. Chester, not afraid of dying. And I don't really care if it's peace you find in dying. Well then, let the time be near. If it's peace you find... I gotta stop.